Welcome to Spot Growth, the podcast dedicated to pediatric speech, physical, and occupational therapists. We explore strategies, insight, and success stories to help you elevate your practice. Join us as we spot growth together.
Hey guys, welcome to the Spot Growth Podcast. This is your host, Aaron Marshall with Extra Mile Billing. And today I'm actually, I'm talking to you about one of my favorite topics. It's just me and you today. I didn't bring a guest in on this one. And I'm really excited because I'm going to be talking about one of the business books, at least the concepts of one of the business books that has impacted me the most as a business owner. And I really wanted to share it with you guys because, I really think this is what takes us to the next level. What we're going to be talking about today is going from working in your business, which is what we do every day. It's how we start, to working on your business, which is such a crucial part of being an owner and a leader and a CEO. It is making that shift from the technician to the owner mindset. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee. I got mine, and listen and just enjoy the conversation, because this is for you. This is for the owner. So guys, there's a reason this matters. I hear it all the time. You know, I talk to owners constantly, and what I hear consistently is, I'm burnt out. I'm burning out. I'm overwhelmed. And, you know, they feel like they have no time to grow, because a lot of times they're doing the same things over and over. And you probably feel this way when the business relies completely on you. And what I mean by that is not that you're not going to be in the business or you're not going to be working on the business in some way, but that if you step away for a day, everything falls apart. If that's you, then this conversation is definitely for you. So, like I said, this conversation, actually, it's going to be a couple of conversations over the next couple of weeks. This is based on a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And it's a book that kind of explains and lays out, I'm going to talk through the high level concepts here, but it really lays out how you go from working in your business owning you, to working on your business and you owning your business. And I think that's a huge jump. It's a huge leap. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you can take steps toward. And we're going to talk about what some of those steps could be for spot business owners. But really, it's something that, you know, it's going to take several years of development, because you've got to grow before you can hand off things. And you've got to kind of measure that along the way and figure out what those are. But this is really going to take you from, hey, you know, I've got to get to the office. I got to finish, you know, every single day, to, I get to show up and do things. I get to, you know, the majority of owners that I talk to are absolutely great from a clinical standpoint. And, you know, you go from treating all day and, you know, feeling really good about that, to saying, you know what, I think it's time to open a business. I think I could do this on my own better and make more money. And the challenge with that is, most of us come into the business world without any business experience. We're just really good technicians, right? You're really good at doing the thing, but maybe you've never tried to actually build a business that does that thing. And this is what we're going to call the technician's trap, where you're great clinically, and you assume that you should run the business as well. And one of the traps is here that if you're doing all the work, everything falls apart when you're not present. and you get stuck in this loop of the business owning you, and you're working in the business and not on the business. So what we want to do is we really want to shift. We want to shift to owning the business, which means actually developing new roles, developing people, developing processes, developing systems that your business runs without you in a lot of ways. Now, it'll never run completely without you. You're the owner. One of the key concepts that this E-Myth book talks about are 3 personalities. The first person, like I've mentioned before, is the technician. And most therapists live here, right? I mean, this is what you went to school for. You love doing the work. You love treating the patients. You love, seeing their progress. You love working with the parents. But then a lot of times the technician avoids delegation, because delegation is difficult, because you know that nobody is going to take that delegated task as seriously as you take it. So you begin to avoid delegating things, mainly because anything you delegate isn't going to get done as fast as you would do it, and it isn't going to get done as well as you would do it. So that's a trap. That's a trap that technicians fall into, is you begin to do everything just because it's faster, right? You're the one who can do it the fastest and the best. So the first personality is the technician. The second personality is a manager, okay? A manager, as an owner, is someone who builds structure, right? They see, okay, I've got authorizations to obtain from all these different insurance companies. So you begin to create a process and an order and a repeatability to those, authorizations. And what you start to do is you start to, instead of making it dependent on a person, you make that dependent on a process. So you put a process in place, a policy, a system to be able to handle those things. So that second personality is a manager. Now, maybe they're not, they're not living in the world of a technician where they want to do everything, but they want to put a process to everything. So this is the stuff kind of around the business, not just the treatments in general. And then that third personality, so the first one is the technician, second one is the manager. The third personality is the entrepreneur. And every owner is an entrepreneur. But the entrepreneur that I'm talking about is an entrepreneur that kind of looks beyond the horizon. They're that big picture thinker. They're the one who has discovered the why, and they see the next step and the step after that. They're able to set that vision, create goals towards that vision, and kind of give direction to the business and figure out, exactly where they should be going. So that's the question that the entrepreneur asks, is where are we going? Not what can I do, but where are we going? And kind of puts everything together there. So the goal here is to strengthen that manager and entrepreneur and let the technician take a step back. Because you can hire technicians, you can bring technicians in, but if you want to build a successful business that's scalable and that's gonna create the kind of wealth and impact that you want, that technician side has to take a step back, and you have to step into place with that manager and with that entrepreneur. So that's what I want you to begin to think about. So these 3 personalities, and if you say, "Oh man, I am the technician," that's okay. That's okay. That is how we start. We start as a technician, and I'm going to give you some practical steps here in the next episode that we can take to begin to move out of that technician and into the manager and the entrepreneur role. So a couple of signs, I want you to do a little CEO test here, because if you're the CEO of the business, you need to do a test. Okay. And some of the signs that you need to delegate things are that you feel completely overwhelmed, right? If you wake up every day, if you are, going through your weeks and you feel completely overwhelmed, you can't even take on new clients. You can't even add new insurance contracts. You can't even hire because you're overwhelmed. That's a sign that you need to delegate. Another sign is that, maybe you have folks in your office and you're constantly repeating the same instructions to them week after week after week. That's a sign that they're not getting it, or there's a system that's not in place. They have nowhere to go to find those instructions, and you need to delegate that. You need to build that process in place. Another sign is that your team always comes to you for the decisions. Okay, if your team members are always coming to you for decisions, that is stuff that you can delegate down to their level. You can set decision trees up so that they don't always come to you for everything. You want to have the peace of mind that people are making decisions without you, and you want them to feel enabled to make those decisions at certain levels. Okay. So what do you delegate first? I think that's really the question that we ask ourselves, because we're like, oh, I got a ton of things going on. What do I delegate first? Well, anything that someone else can do at 80% of the quality that you can do it. Yeah, you heard that right. No one is ever going to come in and do exactly what you would do. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to do it as well, and they're not going to do it as fast. But anything that someone else can do at 80% quality is something that you could put a process around and you can entrust others to do. These are things like scheduling. These are things like simple admin tasks, billing follow-up, insurance benefits verification. These are things that other people can do at 80% quality. Those are the things that you look to delegate first. Some of the things that only you as an owner can do is provide vision and direction. It's doing the financial oversight of the business and making decisions for the business from a financial standpoint. It's hiring and firing, those decisions. That's stuff that only you can do. It's culture building. It's bringing someone in and letting the culture of your business drive them and dictate how they operate. It's building partnerships, with other companies, with other providers. There's a whole map of partnerships that you can begin to build when you're ready. But that's something that only the owner is going to do. And that's something that takes working on your business. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode, we are going to get into a little bit of leadership habits that kind of move you out of the technician role and into more of the manager and the entrepreneur role. And we're going to talk about what systems that you can let the business run without you. Thanks for stopping by. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us this week on the Spot Growth Podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please leave us a review. And if you have any ideas for topics that you'd like to learn more about, please send those to the podcast link at extramilebilling.com.